good evening, everyone. My name is Nicole Venable, and I sit on the WITA Foundation Board, and I'm very excited to be here with you all as your MC this evening. I was very honored and excited to be asked to do this, and I take this role very, very seriously. And in that regard, I thought I might share with you a couple of the real, relentless, and eternal struggles of being a trade wonk, sort of BuzzFeed style. So I hope you guys, travel along with me down this road. And I think many of you can identify with a few of the struggles that we have as trade wonks. For example, if you're a trade wonk, you might have thought that WTF stood for a WTO working group. You habitually look for the made in label in everything you buy. You look forward to the holidays because you get to explain to your family that NAFTA really was a good thing for the country. When you hear GATT, you know it's not a reference to a gun in a hip-hop song. And you hardly have time for anyone that really doesn't know the difference between TPA, TPP, or TTIP. So that's just not your kind of person. And finally, you know that Codex isn't something that you find in a feminine care aisle. Lastly, when you hear cool, you know it's really, really not. So I'm going to let you marinate on a few of those for a while, but in the meantime, I would very much like to invite Congressman Earl Blumenauer to the stage. Let's give him a round of applause for his strong support and leading efforts on TPA.
Thank you, Nicole. I started to have second thoughts after hearing my friend Congressman Carper sort of get things going and the repartee with Senator Hatch. That's not exactly been my frame. I came to Congress 20 years ago, not quite used to the way that things happen in Washington, D.C. I grew up in Oregon, where it's not exactly intensely partisan. I organized and chaired Democrats for Hatfield for the senator when he was behind in the polls in his last election. These lines, lobbyists that only talk to people in one party, was kind of an interesting innovation. It's really worked out well on trade, Cuba, Iran. But I will tell you that recently I've noted a note of optimism in a number of areas, and it's coming from our Ways and Means Committee. I've enjoyed working with Paul Ryan on a wide variety of things in the trade package. I had some crazy ideas that I thought would make it more acceptable, especially to Democrats, and Paul's indulged me. We've been able to work together, moving these things forward. Paul, as chairman of our committee, understands that TPA does not equate to TPP, that we've got some work ahead of us if an agreement is reached in the next few days or weeks. Approval will be actually harder if the agreement doesn't measure up to the expectation and what we've baked into TPA. But Paul approaches this from an interesting perspective. This is a man who has choices in his life. He didn't have to put his heart and soul into the trade agenda. He could have been up on stage with Donald Trump, traveling. Work with me here now. He could have been traveling the country with the Sweet 16 Republican Roadshow. Can you imagine anybody turning that down? It gives you a sense of how focused he is on the work of the Ways and Means Committee, and particularly its international agenda. And I think you would have insight into this man if you had heard Paul address the Capitol Historical Society dinner in honor of Ways and Means a week ago. We had all the former chairs there in the audience, but I will tell you, in the course of the evening, it was actually touching to hear Paul talk with great reverence, insight, and respect about this important committee, its tradition, and its personalities. He understands the nature of the assignment, the opportunity, and the responsibility. You know, not everybody came to Congress obsessed with repealing Obamacare or tossing partisan grenades at the Republicans. His deep interest in the committee's role and substance provides an important framework, not just for trade, but I think things done right, it can lead in other directions as well. And it's been a fascinating past couple weeks, occasionally even fun. Watching the meetings with leadership, with the President, with the Speaker, with Paul working both sides of the aisle, both chambers, and with the administration to address the legitimate concerns that a variety of people have raised about a trade agenda and how to make it better. You know, from the time Paul came here as a young staffer, he was focused and immersed in detail. He likes to debate and discuss. I found, before I ever joined the Ways and Means Committee, that he was amenable to working across party lines. We had a number of amendments in the past dealing with some bizarre farm subsidies. But I will tell you, it's been fun to deal with somebody who's willing to partner, to deal with the challenges ahead. We wouldn't be where we are now in the House without his willingness to focus, his attention to detail, his willing, untireless efforts. I would hope that we all appreciate how much difficult water there is ahead to navigate. But I will tell you, with Paul's commitment, his dedication, his insight, and his hard work, I feel better about that work ahead. I think he's truly deserving of this honor and your recognition, and I am pleased to introduce my chairman, my friend, my fellow spinner and yoga partner, Chairman Paul Ryan.
All right, I need to clarify this yoga thing. There are more than just the two of us participating in yoga at the time. I just want you to know. But it is true, and we had a great yoga session this morning, and spinning. And look what I'm wearing here. That's in solidarity with my friend Earl Blumenauer. Earl and I known each other a long time. I think you've got at least one term on me, maybe two. This is my 9th year, 11th. We've been through some good fights together. For instance, you just reminded me in the Farm Bill, a couple Farm Bills ago, we went after this thing called the sugar program. My God. We got our heads kicked in. we got like 100 votes or something like that. So we've seen the agony of defeat on a number of occasions together as well. But if you want to know what courage looks like, you just saw a picture of it. Earl Blumenauer, one of the 28 Democrats voting for Trade Promotion Authority. As a conservative, trade is expected. You know, sure, there's populism. Sure, we had our own problems on our side, but it is part of who we are, and it's harder for people on the other side of the aisle. And I've got to tell you, I know probably some of you watched how this thing transpired. When we were on the floor moving the bill the first time through, we had a plan in place. That plan didn't execute according to plan. And we had a decision to make right on the spot. I remember Kevin McCarthy and I were deciding, let's proceed with the vote. No one thought we were going to do that. None of our members expected us to do that. And let's just go ahead with the vote. And we had to see if our partners on the Democratic side, those brave 28, Earl Blumenauer, Ron Kine, Henry Cuellar, Greg Meeks, and 24 other Democrats, we went to them on the floor during the vote and said, will you stick with us? Let's just bring this thing up let's bring it up next. Let's run this through and let's stick together. And what did they do? They said, we are with you. We are going with you, and we're going to do it based on trust that you will fix this later. And these Democrats gave us their trust, and they stuck with us, and we got this done because of that. So. I have with me my daughter Liza and her best friend from home in Janesville, Reagan, who this is her building, by the way. And, and Liza and Reagan are 13. They're going into the 8th grade, meaning a year from high school. And given that this is trade prom, I just wanted my daughter to know that this is the only prom that she will be able to go to. So you better really enjoy the evening. So, I want to be brief because I know we have a bit to go tonight. But I'd say a couple of things, a couple of serious points. Earl is exactly right. Just because we have TPA is not axiomatic that we're going to get TPP. It has to be a good agreement. Our partners have to step up overseas. Japan, rice, dairy, autos. Canada. Canada. Dairy. Point is, we will not, because we cannot, bring an agreement to the floor that isn't a good, high-standard, path-breaking agreement. And that's something we feel on both sides of the aisle. The administration, therefore, has to get it right. They have to go get a good agreement. They fly there Tuesday. Top negotiators start negotiating Tuesday, and then the ministerial. And so we have high hopes and high expectations. The basic last point I would say is this. America is back in the game. I think people here understand the value of this, of trade. It is more than tariffs and non-tariff barriers. It is more than sales. It is about opportunity. It is about democracy. It is about individual rights. It is about upward mobility. It's about jobs. It's about growth. It's about who will write the rules of the global 21st century economy, us or people who do not share our values. We have not been engaged. We have not been on the playing field. And as a result, the rest of the world has been spinning around while we've been standing still. And the problem is on trade, if you are standing still, you are clearly falling behind. I think we all know that. And I think what's great about this moment is we now have a chance to get, for 6 years, the train back on the tracks, get America leaning forward, get America leading, and getting all these other countries that want America to lead to join us in raising the standards, in opening markets, in increasing prosperity, in promoting democracy, in promoting free enterprise, in having that rising tide lift all the boats. So it's a great moment for us because America is finally leading again. Last point I simply want to make is I too, like Orrin, I want to thank Ron Wyden. I don't know where he is. He's somewhere down here. There you are, Ryan. Look, this is hard, and we have known each other for a long time, and we've been able to collaborate with each other for a long time, and the more we collaborate, the more we know each other, the more things we can do together. And I want to thank him for doing this, because it is hard for his side of the aisle to stick your neck out like that and actually lead. And so, Ron Wyden, I want to thank you for what you've done. My fellow Wisconsinite, Ron Kine, he like you, Ron Wyden, And like Earl, have displayed impressive courage and leadership. And I want to thank Orrin as well, the old man, the statesman. I want to thank Orrin as well. The three of us are working on a lot of issues right now, and we've developed a very good working relationship. And the very last point is this. I think we have shown, even in this toxic, polarized, difficult political environment, we can still get big things done here. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.